Morning. Yesterday I found myself in an interesting predicament.
Get the fuck away from my car right now.
It had been a pretty long day for me. I'd spent most of the day driving and running errands for my family. I had decided to feed some cravings and, well, I'd stopped by the Taco Bell in Midway Park. Midway Park isn't an inherently dangerous area, however it does have its fair share of tweakers and beggars, sometimes a combination of both. Though I am sympathetic to those who have ruined their lives with hard drugs, I am not so foolish as to engage in prolonged arguments with some of them, as they can go from 0 to 100 at a snap of a finger. Which leads me to the stressful situation I found myself in while stuffing my face at Taco Bell. Before we start, there's a glaring issue with my dash cam that I'd like to point out. It's shitty, and the micro SD I have in it is very old, which leads to missing portions, choppy audio, or just downright corrupt files that I cannot use at all. Fortunately, this seems to only affect the front-facing camera. The rear one works just fine and records audio as well. Now that that's out of the way, let's discuss in detail what transpired. As some of you may already know, my car is a manual transmission, so I avoid eating and driving as much as possible so I can, well, actually drive, and as well as not make a mess all over my car. This is why I was parked. I was simply eating. As I finished my soft taco, I heard someone talking. He sounded pretty upset from what I could hear. I then noticed this SUV peeling out. That's when I noticed our S-rank actor here. Now I'm going to pause it here just for a second and let you soak up the look this man is giving me. This is not a friendly look whatsoever. I immediately notice a handful of things. This man is not saying anything to me at all at this point. He is not waving, he is not nodding, or even an "excuse me, sir." His body language is that of someone who is on edge. He was constantly fidgeting and would not sit still for a single moment during our entire interaction. This immediately raised the question in my head of if his mind was fogged by the go-go juice. I don't know what the fuck that is. Yep, that's a red flag for me. Not only was his belt unbuckled, I spotted the grip of either a blade or a firearm in his waistband. Right then and there, I knew I should have taken off, but my foolishness got the better of me, and I thought this individual was in genuine need of something important. At this point, my front-facing camera stopped working, which sucks because it's a really important piece to the puzzle. I believe it has something to do with the motion sensor that automatically powers on the camera when the car is parked and movement is detected. Regardless, I will do my best to explain what is unfolding as the rear camera plays out. First, I'd like to point out how extremely uncomfortable I am in this moment. A man I do not know has just looked through my soul while fidgeting with shit. I'm fairly certain he is concealing something from me in his waistband, and he's just walked right up to my door. He has made no action whatsoever to address me. I am the one who has to initiate the conversation. He has not asked me how I'm doing, or if I've even got a moment to speak. I don't even know this man's name.
Man, I'm actually out here trying to get some help right now. My fiance and my son just flew in here to the airport.
This is something that is so commonly said, out here at least, that when I showed my buddy Tyler this video in Discord, he literally predicted almost word for word what this man was going to say before he had even seen him say it.
I didn't have the gas to get there, but I'm trying to get up enough room. Trying to get up enough money to get a room at a Triangle Inn so we can stay there, because I actually live in my car right now.
At this point, I'm already starting to pick up on the scent of bullshit. This is further reinforced by his constant fidgeting, stammering of words, and total blending of his sentence. Something just wasn't sitting right with me. At this moment, I immediately knew he was full of shit. The cheapest motels I could find in Jacksonville have a going rate of $50, and I'm sure you could find cheaper. This man claims to be sleeping in his car, so he has transportation. So what's stopping him from driving literally 6 miles down the highway to the Biotest Plasma Center and donating some plasma? Which, by the way, they have also increased their rate of pay due to the plasma shortage, thanks to the current turmoil of the situation we live in now.
I didn't know if there's any way you could help us out, man.
Right now I have to choose my best approach, so that I can get home without some new holes punched in my car. If I tell him I do not have any money, I'm clearly full of shit. I'm driving a fairly nice vehicle, and I'm eating food that I've literally just purchased in front of him. I know what some might be thinking. Just tell him no. Well, I actually ended up doing just that after the conversation was going on for too long, which was the catalyst for the situation escalating. I can only imagine how it would have went had I opened with a negative response. So I choose to try my hand at my speech level and see if I can, get the nice approach to work.
I'm trying to leave my kids out here.
I hear you, man, but I don't know if I can help you, brother, because I don't got no cash on me, man. All in my car, bro.
Is there a way you can get to the ATM or right there, bud?
Take a moment to let this sink in. I hadn't even finished saying that there was no physical cash on me, and that it was on a card, and he was already requesting I go to a nearby ATM, which means this conversation was rehearsed beforehand, and I'm not about to give this man I don't know any money he may or may not need with whatever is sold out in Midway Park. I'm also not looking to openly invite myself to be fucking robbed at an ATM in broad daylight.
Right over there?
Yeah, that's right. There's a Marine one right there.
I don't think I can, man. Sorry.
Huh?
I don't think I can, brother. Sorry.
What do you mean you don't think that you can?
Unfortunately, my camera does not have the proper angle to capture this man, but the look he gave me immediately put me on alert. At this exact moment, I can clearly see through his bullshit, and the altercative response that followed showed me that this guy isn't the victim of unfortunate circumstances that he was fronting to be.
I'm not going to.
Well, at this point, my speech check failed, because I didn't spec enough of my special points into fucking charisma or something, and I see no way I can continue to be passive. I have to ground myself and be straightforward.
Why did you say that in the first place?
I was trying to be polite, brother.
I don't need polite. I need straightforward.
At this point, the man's body language shifted. He has gone from being fidgety, but at least maintaining eye contact, to a more aggressive manner in scanning the surrounding area. I see this as my cue to get the fuck out, which I made evident by putting my car in first gear and putting my seatbelt on, or at least trying to. He, however, was still in front of my vehicle, which can be heard by my park assist sensor beeping, alerting me of an object in front of my vehicle. I chose a more aggressive set of words, in an attempt to get the point across, that I was done and I wanted nothing more to do with this man.
Okay, can you get the fuck away from my car?
It was at this point that he placed his hands together as if he was pretending to button his shirt while scanning his surroundings, and then he pointed down at his waistband. My windows were not down all the way, so I could not completely understand what he was saying, but I did not need to. Before we continue, let's discuss the dangers of being in a gun battle while inside of a vehicle. As taught to the very police this man claims to call as I drive away, the last place you want to be in a gunfight is inside of an unarmored vehicle. This is why police commonly refer to the situation as being in the coffin. Despite what Hollywood portrays, vehicles are terrible at stopping live rounds. Bullets will commonly pass through literally both doors of a commuter car. There is only one place on a vehicle that should be used as hard cover, and that is the engine block and front tires. Anything else is just concealment, and bullets don't give a fuck about that. With all that being said, and after everything that this man has exhibited through his behavior and actions, would you want to draw from the drop? If you said yes, then your car is either up armored or you're a fool. At this point, I made the decision. I was hoping I wouldn't have to. What the man didn't realize is that I was carrying my Canik TP9SF at the time. I unholstered it, however, I did not point it at him, at all. I kept the weapon at low ready, maintaining positive trigger discipline, while simultaneously trying verbal kung fu to get this guy, to get the point across, to leave me be. This did not work.
I'm gonna ask you once to get the fuck away from my car. That's fine. That's fine. Get the fuck away from my car.
Right at this very moment, the man has turned to face me and is side-strafed to my passenger fender. I cannot leave without running him over. If I go straight and try to get around, I don't see why he wouldn't continue to block my fender off, and I'd be stuck at a curb, and I do not have the ground clearance to get over it. If I go left, I run the risk of hitting someone, as this is only one-way traffic through this area. Or worse, I could find myself blocked in and unable to get away from this rapidly escalating situation. This is the point where I decide to bring my sights on target and put my finger inside the trigger guard. At this point, I'm trapped, I'm threatened, and I'm not about to be a victim of whatever this dumbass has cooked up inside of his empty vat of a skull.
Get the fuck away from my car right now. Get the fuck away from my car.
Thankfully, when he saw my finger creeping into the trigger guard, he got the message and moved out of the way while
Fucking
screaming
idiot.
expletives at me, and it allowed me to get the hell out of there.
Jesus Christ.
Now, there is one glaring issue that I made, one mistake, after this entire altercation. I did not go to the police. However, my reasonings for this are sound enough for me to stand by them. Though this man was an idiot, ruined my appetite, and pissed me off, I do not hate this individual. I've seen firsthand what the effects of hard drugs can do to a person, and in my mind, at that moment, this person was under the influence of them. No normal person would do the things that he did. With that said, I do not want, nor am I going to press charges against this individual. As someone who's addicted to cigarettes and hemp-based products, I understand how hard addiction is to battle, much less one of that magnitude of heroin or rock. I genuinely and sincerely hope this person can see the help that they need, without the prosecution or judgment that may come with it. That being said, I also hope the situation was as much of a wake-up call for him as it was an adrenaline dump for me, and I'm glad I didn't have to pull that trigger.